Hey gorgeous, welcome to the Miracle Magnet Babe podcast. My name is Dori and I'm a certified manifestation coach, life purpose coach, and my mission is to inspire you to find your true purpose and passion so you can live the life that you were always dreaming about. I'm taking you to a journey with life coaches, manifestation experts, spiritual leaders to help you to uplevel your life, improve your mindset, and use proven methods for your self development. My goal is to help as many women as possible and to create something that can help you to be the best version of you and live your absolute best life. Hello, good morning, everybody, and welcome on today's episode. My guest today is Kat. She's a manifestation coach. She became a manifestation coach after she had her own hard times throughout childhood, and then she decided to change her life. She invested in her mindset and then started manifesting her dream life. So I'm excited to know more about you, Kat. Thank you for being here.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, my name is Kat. I am a manifestation coach and I help soulful women get out of their own way and really help them heal their relationship with money, relationship with themselves, and learn how to manifest a life full of abundance. And currently, I am working with women one-on-one in a
Mhm.
personal manifestation mentorship that I've created called Align Your Light, Babe. It's been really exciting so far. All of my clients are in like their fourth and fifth week of working with me,
Oh,
and we're
nice.
starting to have some really massive breakthroughs and transformations, which isn't surprising to me whatsoever because of the powers that the universe holds for all of us and what we're able to do when we have the knowledge of how to co-create our lives.
And how long is the full program?
Full program is 3 months long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is my first round of one-on-one coaching. I had done like little like one-off phone calls before this and like have helped multiple people in learning how to manifest, but this is my first full program. So it's been really
Mm-hmm.
exciting to run them through it, and we're about halfway through it, which is pretty crazy.
And you already have big results and what is gonna be in the end, right?
Yeah.
Excited to know.
So exciting. It's yeah, every journey that I have, every person that I'm working with is like slightly different. So it's awesome to be able to help so many people overcome these blocks that have been in their way for multiple years now. And yeah, it's just so incredibly rewarding for me and also for my incredible clients being able to do this for themselves.
That's amazing. And how did you start being interested in coaching and how did you start your manifestation journey?
Yeah. So my manifestation journey started from like earlier on. As you're saying, I had a fairly I it wasn't, looking at it now, I'm like, no, that's like exactly what I needed. Like those are all of the things that happened for me to evolve. But growing up, I felt like I had a pretty difficult life. I'm
Mm-hmm.
from a really small mountain town in the middle of Colorado, and growing up, as soon as I consciously was aware of it, I realized that my father was an alcoholic. And because of that, my mom and my dad fought a lot. And I spend a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time with my friends. And my friends, I always compared myself to because they were extremely thin. Their parents had a lot of money. And I always felt like I wasn't good enough. Um, and through feeling not good enough, I attracted many experiences into my life that like continued to perpetuate that. So I was bullied for being overweight. I had so many interesting financial situations growing up where we don't have any money or whatever it was. Um, but I, for years and years, always was like the girl who put on like the happy face and just kept going with it. And
Mm-hmm.
then one day I just like, I'm so unhappy and I felt completely hopeless. And that was the first time that I had ever felt hopeless in my life. And
How
from
old
that
were you at
decided
that time?
I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a sophomore in high school, and I just was like, what's the point? And I started to go to traditional therapy at that point, which was extremely helpful because that's where I learned my basis of mindfulness
Mm-hmm.
and how to bring yourself back into the present moment. Um, this is where I believe for myself my spiritual awakening started, because I was going through so much discomfort that I needed to seek others out and like started to believe in a higher power. And at that time I didn't know what it was, because I didn't know if it was God, I didn't know if it was the universe, I didn't know. I was just like, okay, like there's something that
Mm-hmm.
is keeping me grounded in all of this. um so after that I felt pretty good about things for a while. Once I graduated high school at the age of 18, I started like heavily binge drinking, and through that was surrounded in like the party community, sleeping around a bunch. And this made me feel really good because I was getting attention from guys for the first time in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and like had a tool to like make me the fun flirty party cat that like got a ton of attention.
Very
um
similar story to mine.
yeah, I know you were saying that, and I was like, it's so crazy, like in this journey and the people that you meet, there's so many people who have gone through that, like that exact thing, that they're
Yeah.
like, they used alcohol or whatever it was to like lower their inhibitions and like be who they actually want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so exciting that we all find it without it now. But yeah,
It took
I
a few years though.
it took a while. Yeah. Yeah, so I was into that for a really long time, and then it just suddenly got to this point where I was like, okay, like I'm not happy in this either. Like this doesn't feel good. And I remember it was like October of 2016, one of my best friends handed the book You Are a Badass in my hands, and I read the entire book in one day, and
Mm-hmm.
immediately like my life changed. And I was like, this makes sense. Like this is exactly like what I've been looking for to like start making moves in my life. Um and from like there on out, I couldn't get enough from of spirituality and manifestation. So I was diving into like podcasts and books, and like started to collect crystals and all
Mm-hmm.
of the like witchy things people like to call it. And I started to learn how to manifest. I manifested a beautiful 1-bedroom apartment in Denver after being in a really crazy living situation with people off of Craigslist. And then
Mm-hmm.
job promotions, free concerts, different relationships, and all of like these incredible things. And I was honestly so impressed with myself that I figured out how to do this, that I took advantage of it as often as possible. And I did it all the time, and like it became such a part of my life that I got very unintentional around it and lost connection with the universe again.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I just was frustrated and felt like, oh, like things aren't showing up for me anymore. Like it seems like the universe doesn't actually have my back. So then I went through like another pretty chaotic time in my life where I fell into like my same old toxic patterns of
Mm-hmm.
drinking and partying and doing all of that sort of stuff.
What helped you to get over on those times again?
Yeah. So I during those times, like anytime I noticed that I was falling back into like an old toxic pattern, I would always question like, why is this happening again? Like I thought we had already conquered this. And it wasn't until like I actually like got intentional and like took a look at all of the things that I had been avoiding in like looking at my toxic patterns and my toxic cycles in my life, that it was like, okay, like I actually have to change something within myself. It's not about like
Mhm.
picking my life up and getting a new job or picking my life up and moving somewhere different. Um, and I don't remember, I think I was either reading a book or had a conversation with someone, and they said to me, like, you have to heal from within first to
Mhm.
be able to see it on the outside. And I was just like, that was another message that I was just like, oh my gosh, this clicked. And like now looking at it, I'm like, oh, like that was the universe like sending me the message that I needed to be able to evolve from this thing, because I thought by picking up my life and moving around and doing all the things, like I would eventually like not fall into the
Gonna
same
get better.
toxic, yeah, pattern. So I took a very, very deep look inward at all of the things that I had been avoiding my entire life. Like, why didn't I feel good enough? Like, things about my body image, why I was drinking, especially things with money, because growing up with my family, like money was like a cuss word. It was like you didn't want to ask about it, you didn't want to say too much, like things got weird if you did. So I just like I took a really deep look at all of these things and had to figure out why I believed the things that I believed, and so much of them were rooted subconsciously from the people that I grew up around, from society, from
Right.
like what had been perpetuated to myself, because I had like allowed to see it that way for so long in my life, and made the conscious decision to start believing otherwise and start believing things that were actually going to serve me.
And so, what were the tools that you used to help yourself out from that situation?
Yeah. So during these like kind of darker times, I consistently had a inner work journal with me.
Mhm.
And anytime that I noticed that I was triggered by something, or like my like vibrational state was very low, I would open my journal and be like, okay, like write down the things that you're experiencing right now, and like what environment you're around, what thoughts you're thinking. And I started to think about, if these are the things that I'm experiencing right now, like what's the opposite thing that would serve me? And I would
Mhm.
write down all of the things that would serve me instead. And then I would repeat those back to myself as like an affirmation, but just in my head all day long. One of you posted it on your Instagram story yesterday. My faith is greater than my fears. And that is
Oh,
something that
that's
I
my
use.
journal. That's my little
Yeah,
journal book.
I love it. That was my go-to affirmation every single day of my life for a large amount of time, because I was so fearful that I was falling back into the same toxic patterns, and I was like, "Oh my god, like how do I get out of this?" And like just was so worried. And I, believing so much in manifestation and energy and all of it, knowing that your energy goes where you're like thinking about things. I think the saying is like energy flows where your intentions go or your thoughts go. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, like if I'm going to continue to give life to these toxic patterns and all of the things, that's going to continue to manifest into my life. But if I can consciously choose to say, like, my faith is greater than my fears, or I am capable of overcoming whatever it is, then that is where the energy is going to flow to instead.
Right. I think in one of your videos or stories, you talk about how for a long while you manifested all the negative things and then it switched to all the positive ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did that switch happen? What did you do?
Yeah. So I actually remember like the exact moment that I was like, okay, like you have the power to turn this thing around. I was sitting in my apartment here down on the floor in my kitchen, and I was just like so down on life. I was so down on myself. And then just like suddenly like this wave came over me. It was like, no, like you have the power. Like you have the power to turn this around. So I stood up and I looked myself in the eye in the mirror, and I was like, you're going to do this. Like we're going to turn this thing around. And from that day forward, I made it a priority to me to have at least like at that time it was like 20 minutes a day just focused on like centering into myself and connecting with the universe. And I did that through either meditation or journaling, or you were asking if I have any crystals and whatnot, and like
Yeah.
I wear this citrine necklace all the time. I carry like all of my different ones depending on what the day is and what I'm feeling. If I need to like ward off those negative vibes, I'll carry some smoky quartz or whatever with me. If I'm trying to manifest love, I'll have my rose quartz. Um, but just like really connecting to things that made me feel like my highest self and doing the things for myself intentionally every single day to put myself in a higher vibrational state. And I like created a list of things that I really enjoy doing, and I scheduled
Mm-hmm.
time into my day to do those things. And one of those is like I almost every single day start my day off by putting on like a song that I really like. At the moment, it's Harry Styles' new album. So I'll put on Harry Styles' new album and I will go and have a dance party in my kitchen by myself and let my body flow however it wants to.
And you post those on Instagram too. I
Yeah.
see you.
Yes, and I post them on Instagram because I want people to know that like you can do the silliest things and have so much fun and not care what other people think of you. It's only about like what you think of yourself and what makes you feel good. Because that for the longest time in my life was something that I struggled with so much. Like I let the judgment of other people stand in the way of who I truly am. And
Mm-hmm.
like it stopped me from speaking my truth. It stopped me from like going out into the world, all because I was so fearful.
Um, I have one question that reflecting back in the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah,
When you were in that part of your life when you're partying all the time and drinking and having all these crazy things, do you still have some friends from those times?
I do. I definitely don't have as many of them as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't keep in contact with them as often as I used to, but there was definitely like friends from that time in my life that I connected with on a level that wasn't just partying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the friends that I did connect with that were solely just because of partying definitely are not part of my lives anymore. Even some of them that I didn't, I just recognized that it was extremely toxic. Um,
Right.
but I'd say I have like one or two friends still from that time of my life that have continued to be such like a strong figure in my life.
Mm-hmm. Because I know sometimes when we go through these changes, then some people are just left out, or it's better to disconnect from them
Yeah,
because they keep pushing you back to the same old habits or same old patterns that you don't want to do anymore.
absolutely. Yeah, that was like a big realization for me a few years back, is that like you are the energy of the things around you, and like you do have the choice to bring yourself up to more of a high vibrational state. But when you are surrounded by people who are not at a high vibrational state, it's not, I don't want to say difficult, but it's harder than it would be if you were to surround yourself with extremely positive and high vibrational people.
Mm-hmm. That's so
And
true.
oftentimes like when you're in this state of like learning how to intentionally manifest and co-create your life, you have to remove yourself from toxic people and toxic situation and things that don't serve you, and that can be so uncomfortable. And I think growing up in our society, we see uncomfortable and like discomfort as something that's bad, when in reality it's like it's a sign of growth.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that you feel discomfort, you are moving through something that you have to move through in order to evolve from it and be on the other side of it. And like discomfort scares people and people want to go back into their comfort zone, and that's why they continue to live in their same toxic patterns. And if you can work your way through the discomfort, you get to the other side and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is what it looks like to like be out of your comfort zone and like get to the place that you had only dreamed of being.
Mm-hmm. And you get to know that it can be different. You don't have to stay the same all the time.
Yeah.
So I have one more last question for you.
Awesome.
In one of your videos, you talk about um, healing our subconscious mind. What does that mean, and how can we do it?
Cool. So healing your subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind controls so much of our life. It's like, I forget the exact statistic, but I believe it's like 10% of our mind is our conscious mind, 90% is our subconscious mind. And we manifest from our subconscious minds. We don't manifest from our conscious mind. So if you see less than ideal situations coming into your life, shitty things happening with money, whatever it is, that's because you have limiting beliefs that are rooted in your subconscious mind that are manifesting into your life because you believe them with absolute certainty. Even if like you can consciously say like, no, like I love money, like I love this and I want this to be my truth. If you haven't actually like taken the time to rewire your subconscious mind to believe otherwise, you'll continue to manifest those things into your life. So when I say healing your subconscious mind, it's like actually digging into your triggers, into like the things that you really don't necessarily want to look at within yourself, and lay those out on the table and figure out which of these are serving me and which of them are not.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, like pick out the beliefs that you don't want anymore and create ones that you do want to believe. And I do this through, so in my own life, rewiring my subconscious mind, I have, let me take the example of, let's do money. Money is like definitely one of the biggest things that I like to talk about and like teach on because it's been such a huge thing in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I had the limiting belief that like I wasn't worthy of having money because I didn't feel good enough within myself. And I also like believed that if I spent money, it wouldn't come back to me. And I had so many situations in my life that would manifest that like I would get I would get like tons of random parking tickets or like an unexpected bill or whatever it was. I'm laughing because I used to literally say to myself, I get a parking ticket every time they're street sweeping. And like lo and behold, every single time there was street sweeping, I got a parking ticket because I spoke out into the universe and had it rooted in my subconscious mind that like if they're street sweeping today, I'm getting a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so when I started like really, really diving into my limiting beliefs, especially around money, I took the time to write out every single limiting belief that I have.
Wow.
And it was like, it was pages and pages worth of limiting beliefs around money. And then I took every single one individually and wrote out why it wasn't true and what I should believe or can believe otherwise to start creating change in my life. And from there, I created a list of affirmations of things that were true to me, like people love to pay me, I love money, money loves me, all of those sorts of. I didn't necessarily like repeat it to myself all day long every single day like I did with my faith is greater than my fear.
Mm-hmm.
But I made it a point that like every time I swipe my credit card, every time I hand cash out, I tell myself there's so much more of this where this came from. And I get in a really excited and happy place before I do anything surrounding money because money is energy just like everything else. And if you can be in a high vibrational state when you're spending money, saving money, investing money, doing whatever it is with money, that's how money will come back to you. That's how it will like be in terms of coming back into your life.
It will manifest its way to you back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did that's like I feel like there's so many different ways to rewire your subconscious mind. In my coaching program, we dive into like a ton of it because like that's the root of creating things in your life that you are intentional about. Um, but on like a very base level, that's like one of the processes that is key in rewiring your subconscious mind is like actually recognizing the things that aren't serving you, or like recognizing the things that you say or do just because you think it's part of life.
Hmm. So we can write them down, right next to it. Why is it not true? And then put some positive affirmation for it.
Yeah. Yeah, write down all the things that like you consciously like are aware that you say or do that's not serving you, and then write out why it's not true, and then yeah, come up with a belief of what would serve you instead,
Hmm.
and positive affirmations around what that belief is true to you. um it, when I first started doing it, I was like, I'm a complete faker, like I don't actually believe these things. But the more consistent that you are with it and the more that you say it to yourself and like believe it, choose to believe it, the more you are telling your subconscious mind that that is a new truth for you. And you only have to believe these things 51% of the time at the get-go to rewire your subconscious mind. So just a little bit more than half, and like it will help rewire your subconscious mind.
Right, thank you so much for sharing this tip.
Of course.
And there's so much more to talk about, but thank you so much for sharing everything. Thank you for being so open
Of
and sharing
course.
your story with us.
Absolutely.
And so, for the very last one, can you give us 3 tips for self care and self love? What tools we can use, like in a daily life, for develop great self love?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't necessarily have a routine that I follow for self-care or like morning routine or night routine. I allow myself to flow and do and honor my body and my mind and my spirit in the way that feels best to me that day. But that being said, I also do practice self-care and self-love every single day.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, I'm throwing this one out number one because this is my absolute favorite thing to do. And I already talked about it, but solo dance parties, like put on music that makes you feel so happy, so like in your element as your highest self, and like allow your body to move in whatever way your body wants to move, because this allows you to clear out stagnant energy within your body and allow you to become a clear channel for the energy that you're wanting to receive and emit out. So moving your
I will
body.
start doing this.
Yes, it's so fun. I like, seriously, it's so funny when I first started doing that, like doing it, I was like, oh gosh, I hope my neighbors like can't see into my apartment right now. But like it's so fun. And like you'll find yourself dancing like anytime there's music playing, you'll just be like in your groove doing it. Um and then I think as well, like reciting affirmations to yourself, positive affirmations on the daily have completely changed my life. And oftentimes I'll pick like 3 or 4 that are really prominent to me at the time and pair them
Hmm.
with like how I can be grateful or a way to be grateful, because gratitude also is one of the biggest things in learning to intentionally manifest, is expressing gratitude for every possible thing in your life, even if you
Right.
feel like you're not grateful for it, finding a way to be grateful for it. Um, yeah, so I pair those two together as an affirmation, like, I'm so grateful for like my beautiful body because I used to struggle so much with self-image. Like I'm so grateful for like my body, for my curves, for all the things. And then I really feel into that, the grateful place as well as like the positive things that I'm telling myself. And third, I meditate every day. I oftentimes
That's
like to
good.
do it multiple times, but without fail, I definitely do it at least once a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to do it before bed because that's when I feel in the like most meditative state. And then as I like start to drift off into dream, I'm like visualizing and seeing the life that I intend to manifest. And
I do
that's
the same
also,
thing.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really powerful for our subconscious minds to do it right before bed because they don't know the difference between what's being imagined and what's being lived. So if you're doing it into like a dreamlike state in like a very meditative state, it's really, really powerful for your subconscious mind and for the universe to like get that visualization and start to like attract that into your life. Um, I also think it's extremely powerful to be listening to music that's based at 432 hertz while you're doing this,
Mm-hmm.
because music that there's like miracle tone healing, which is like an entirely different topic,
Yeah.
but miracle tone healing and music that's based at 432 hertz give you like a really good meditative feeling that influence like spiritual development and intuition and all of that. Um, that's definitely up there on my list. It's super calming.
My favorite one is for meditation. It's called Bamboo Flute from Japan. That's
Ooh,
my favorite meditation music.
that's awesome. I love that.
All right, Kat, thank you so much for all your tips and ideas and everything that you share with us today.
Of course. Thanks for
And
having me.
right, thank you. And so, where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah. So I am on Instagram. My handle is at Kat Kozad. And I am currently working on putting together a website and all of that good stuff. So that will be linked up to my Instagram once it is available. And yeah, if anybody's interested, you can follow me there. I currently have a free money manifestation mini course that I have put out. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're interested in a small mini training on money manifestation, anybody can come find me on Instagram and I will get that to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much again.
Of course. Have a great day. It's so lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in into today's episode. If you loved and enjoyed the show, please share it with someone else who would enjoy it as well. And also, don't forget to subscribe or turn on the notification so you don't miss out on the next episodes. If you are not following me on social media, please send me some love at Miracle Magnet Babe on Instagram. And if you take a screenshot of today's episode, please post it and tag me. It always makes my day and I can repost it in my story. I love you and I can't wait to share my next episode with you.